Since July 24th, heavy flooding has struck many provinces in China. After torrential rains hit Beijing, parts of the city were submerged, and Hebei experienced historic rainfall. This marks the strongest rainfall since the start of the flood season in Beijing, with areas like Miyun, Pinggu, Shunyi, and Tongzhou experiencing heavy rainfall. A video of Beijing's torrential rain was shared by a netizen, showing flooded streets with cars submerged, some with water levels reaching waist height. In Tongzhou district, many streets were flooded, making it difficult for drivers to navigate. Meteorologists forecasted 3 continuous days of heavy rain starting from July 25th, with the rain expected to intensify. Areas along the mountains and the southeast were expected to be the hardest hit, with a high risk of mountain floods and mudslides. On July 26, a Beijing-based blogger posted a video complaining about government inaction. The blogger wrote, "From July 25th to the early hours of July 26th, heavy rain and mountain floods hit Fengjiayu town in Miyun district, Beijing. There was not a single flood control worker. I live by the river, and in previous years we would get a warning call. This year's, it seems like no one is taking action. We, the common people, probably don't matter." Netizens also reported that in Yizhuang, New City, heavy rain caused the Liangshui River to rise rapidly, warning people to be cautious when out and about. Hebei province, especially Baoding, has been one of the hardest hit regions in this round of flooding. On June 25th, floods in Baoding knocked down power poles, sparking flames. Look at this water. It swept away the house and yard and destroyed 6 homes. Streets in Baoding turned into rivers, with many cars submerged. A netizen shared a video saying, "The water's almost to the windows of the cars. Some vehicles were swept away. Driving on the roads felt like sailing a boat." From July 24th to 25th, Baoding's Yishan County experienced extreme rainfall, with the heaviest recorded rainfall in Tonghu Town's Rengyizhuang village. There, it reached 448.7 millimeters. This downpour nearly equated the entire annual average rainfall for Baoding and broke the historical single-day rainfall record for the area. Some villagers in the local Taitan village were stranded on rooftops. One of them, who had been relocated, described how the floodwater entered their home during the night, reaching over 2 meters in depth. In a video shared by the villager, the footage shows people trapped on their rooftops, crying for help. One person shouts, "There are children and elderly people in the warehouse on the left." The victim weeps as they describe how floods have submerged the streets and homes. They had been waiting for rescue for hours in the rain, but no help had arrived. In another video, a resident says, "I've been waiting here for the boat to come and rescue us." They explained that the water flooded the house completely. "No one came to rescue us. We've been on the roof since 3 o'clock.
The water had reached a small village, and my family was stranded on the roof, watching the water rise and unable to leave."
A Beijing-based blogger also shared how floodwaters rushed into their home, breaking down the living room door and flooding half the house. He recounted his family's efforts to survive. "The water kept rising around 3:30 p.m., and we urgently called for help. The 3 of us had to use the coffee table as a footrest to keep out of the water. By 5 p.m., we were exhausted from the cold water, hoping for rescue, but we had to find ways to save ourselves. When the water level dropped a bit, we forced open the bedroom door and laid the child on the bed for support. Around 7 p.m., when the rain lightened, we tried to reach the village party secretary and rescue teams, but the swift currents made it hard to use inflatable boats. By the time the water in the house receded halfway, the yard was still flooded, and we couldn't get out, but we hung on, and by 7:30 p.m., we finally escaped danger." An elderly resident in Hebei said, "Hebei has been punished by heaven. The flood's so bad, it's like the sea at my doorstep. I told everyone that sooner or later we'll need a boat. Don't go outside if you don't have a life jacket. They say the Yihe Bridge collapsed again. You should go check out the East Zhou City Bridge for the sea view. Our place is already flooded."
Woke up this morning and oh no, it's flooded again. Look at this car.
On July 25th, in Yishan, Hebei, cars were floating on the streets due to the floodwaters. Even the rescue vehicles have become objects of rescue. Another video shows citizens desperately moving items from shops that had been flooded.
The road was fine when we came, but now we can't go back. Oh no, don't get off. The rain is pouring down.
One person shared their shock, saying, "How serious is the water accumulation? Look, this car's already half submerged. This one too. Look further. There's a big vehicle. I spent the night there. Oh my goodness, the water here is flowing so fast." The floods have caused not only massive losses to residents' property, but also the destruction of roads and even newly built bridges.
这是T字沟方向拐弯的这条路啊。
This road is now completely impassable. The road there has been washed away and is now suspended.
万省到一线237省道。
The 237 provincial road has been destroyed and is closed off. If you're thinking of going, don't. The road is destroyed.
一场无情的大水啊，又把咱们这儿冲成了这样。
This ruthless flood has turned everything into this.
看咱们一线大桥这边，这是义和庄大桥又塌了，开始。
Look here, the Yihezhuang Bridge has collapsed again. The water is so high and surging, and the rain is still pouring down. On July 25th, several netizens reported that the Yihezhuang Bridge in Yixian, Baojing, Hebei province was swept away by the flood in the early morning and reminded everyone to stay safe and take a detour. One netizen posted a video saying,
看看啊，义和庄大桥又断了。
Yihezhuang Bridge collapsed again.
The video shows a raging river with a broken guardrail hanging in the air. Some netizens claim that this bridge was previously destroyed by floods in July 2021, and now it's collapsed again. The water has even entered their yards. Chinese media reports confirm that government staff have verified that the bridge has indeed collapsed for the second time due to excessive water levels. However, netizens argue that the bridge collapsed just a few days after it was built, calling it a tofu dreg project.
看河大桥啊，通桥了5天。
Look at this bridge. It only took 5 days for it to collapse after a flood. What quality?
The Yihezhuang Bridge collapses fast, and it's built fast too, China speed. In Fuping County, Baojing, the ceiling of a shopping mall exploded and collapsed due to the heavy rain, causing water to spray everywhere. The scene was terrifying, and the entire mall was in chaos. According to the China Meteorological Administration, over 6,000 households and over 19,000 people were located across 10 districts in Baoding. However, officials did not clarify where they were relocated to. As of July 26, no casualties have been reported, leaving people skeptical about the situation. A video shows a car being swept away by the flood, and the driver's fate is unknown. In Yixian, 182 villages are affected, with over 4,000 acres of crops damaged. A total of 563 houses, 155 bridges, and 462 kilometers of roads were also affected. About a fifth of the farmland was a complete loss. The direct economic loss amounted to 114 million yuan. In some villages in Yixian, the water flooded homes, and power poles and trees lay on the ground.
惨不忍睹啊！自63年以来最大的一次雨啊！
It's unbearable to watch. This is the largest rain since 1963.
A video also captured the terrifying scene of the flood rushing through a village. In Tongzhou town, a villager shared how the flood destroyed his cattle pen, and his tricycle and electric bicycle were swept away. He said, "I haven't seen such heavy rainfall in nearly 30 years. The villager added that he hasn't been relocated yet, but his house has lost power. According to Chinese media reports, Mr. Xu took out a loan of more than 2 million yuan last year to run a scorpion farming business in Yixian, located next to a tributary of the local Pinggu River. He had over 5 million scorpions, nearly all of which were destroyed by the floods.
500多万只蝎子从外面的
Over 5 million scorpions were washed away. I borrowed 2 million yuan in cash from the bank, and now it's all gone. Around 5 a.m., the staff informed me that the farm's gate, office, and breeding area had been destroyed by the flood. The farm didn't have insurance, and we don't know what to do about the losses.
Some netizens expressed concerns that the poisonous scorpions scattered by the flood might pose a threat to people's safety. One netizen remarked that the floods are not just a meteorological disaster, and that this isn't the first time Hebei has been flooded, nor will it be the last. Residents mentioned that the situation was worsened by the release of water from upstream reservoirs. On July 25th, a netizen filmed the Angezhuang Reservoir, located upstream of the Yishui River in Yixian. It was releasing water, causing the river to rise rapidly. Another netizen warned the water from the Zhuozhou River is rising. Please stay safe. The video also showed the flood diversion channel had started to release water. On July 25th, Zhuozhou in Hebei province also experienced a devastating flood caused by heavy rainfall. By 9 a.m. on the 25th, the average rainfall in the entire city of Zhuozhou was 137.2 millimeters. The emergency flood response was raised from level 4 to level 3. The areas most severely affected by flooding included Huayang River, Guanyun Bridge, and the Jingangao Expressway near the Huajian section, and areas near the high-speed train station where many vehicles were submerged. Zhuozhou is a city located upstream of Xiong'an New Area. Due to its strategic location, it has been selected by authorities as a flood diversion area to protect the image of the Xiong'an New Area, which was personally driven by CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping. However, this decision has come at a devastating cost for the citizens of Zhuozhou. The floodwaters have been deliberately redirected toward the city, leading to the destruction of homes and loss of lives. On July 25th, residents of the affected areas expressed their distress. Look at the water in my house. The front door is already underwater. It won't even open. The water's too high.
The water's coming into the house. It's all over. The water's rising. It's over. It's coming inside.
Everywhere is flooded. I can't even get out. Back in July 2023, Zhuozhou had already flooded once, also to preserve the safety of Xiong'an New Area. That disaster was one of the worst man-made catastrophes in the history of the city. Now, 2 years later, it has flooded again for the same reason. This year's flood in July has brought immense suffering to the residents, but the government continues to suppress protests. A resident mentioned receiving a call from the police simply for posting a video about the disaster on Douyin, asking him to delete the video.
有人问我拒马河只修一面黄洪地。
Someone asked me why the Juma River only has one side of a flood controlled there. What do ordinary people think about this?
Zhuozhou is situated in a low-lying area upstream of the Xiong'an New Area, which is also a basin. When the floodgates in Zhuozhou are opened, it inevitably floods Xiong'an New Area. However, since Xiong'an New Area is a key project that the CCP is heavily promoting, the authorities are determined to protect it from flood threats. Although the CCP doesn't openly state it, Zhuozhou has been designated as a flood diversion area to intentionally guide the floodwaters here and alleviate the pressure on Xiong'an New Area. Look how severe the damage is. Our car is also caught in it. Oh my goodness.
The cars on top are already trapped. Look, one is coming towards us.
跟大家说一下啊，这个不是一条河。
Just to let everyone know, this isn't a river, it's our yard. See it? I can't go any further. I'm too scared to go home. My goodness, I hope the rain stops soon. It's too heavy.
Look at this water. The newly built beautiful village relocation neighborhood is completely flooded. The water's up to the thighs, and the 3 houses in the independent yard are submerged. After heavy rainfall in Zhuozhou, many people were unable to go to work the next day, as the roads and their cars were flooded. On July 25th, video showed water levels rising over a meter. Numerous vehicles were submerged. One netizen commented, "Zhuozhou, Hebei, heavy rains. The streets have turned into seas, and a large number of cars are submerged. Don't come to Hebei this weekend." Another netizen added, "It's over. Zhuozhou is going to be flooded again."
What happened to Zhuozhou? It never flooded before, but now every time it rains, it floods. This has been happening for the past 2 years, and this year, once it rains, Zhuozhou floods again.
On July 25th in Bazhou, a city under Langfang, Hebei, residents below the 3rd floor were ordered to evacuate, with evacuation traffic extending for several kilometers. Like Zhuozhou, Bazhou is also officially designated as a flood diversion area. A netizen remarked, 3 years ago, to protect Xiong'an New Area, all surrounding counties and cities were sacrificed and turned into flood storage areas. Now, after working hard for 2 years, we've ended up as disaster victims. The whole province is digging up roads and bridges to protect Xiong'an. Is this true or not? They've started creating panic again. It looks like they're making a big move. Netizens' videos show people evacuating overnight, causing a traffic jam.
Get ready, evacuate. The small houses are all dark. The doors are locked and we are leaving. Please turn off your horns.
In Bazhou, some roads are being prepared for flood diversion work, as shown in a video posted by another blogger. The video circulating online shows that Bazhou is digging up national highways to release floodwaters. Bazhou flood diversion preparation work is underway. The embankments are being reinforced.
Bazhou is releasing floodwaters. This is National Highway 106. The road has been cleared and the floodwaters are being released. This flood diversion channel is now a two-way lane for small vehicles, but the bridge below is likely being broken through to allow floodwaters from upstream to pass through this route. The traffic is now restricted in Bazhou, heading towards Renqiu. Large vehicles can't pass through. Only small cars under 2 meters can cross this bridge.
A different blogger films the floodwaters being diverted into Bazhou.
Look, the water is coming forward. Can you see it? It's already up to my feet. The water is moving fast.
In recent years, rainfall in northern China has repeatedly broken records, highlighting the flood risks faced by high-density cities like Beijing. These extreme weather events challenge China's outdated flood prevention infrastructure, potentially threatening the livelihoods of millions and impacting the agricultural sector, which has a market value exceeding $2.8 trillion. On July 25th, the Ministry of Water Resources and the Chinese Communist Party reported that 15 rivers across Shanxi, Inner Mongolia, Hebei, Shanxi, and Guangdong had exceeded flood warning levels. However, the ministry had announced that by 8 a.m. on July 4th, a total of 329 rivers nationwide had surpassed their flood warning levels. The CCP's annual Beidaihe meeting typically takes place from late July to early August. In the face of such severe flooding across China, only Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing has visited flood-hit areas in Henan and Hebei. None of the 7 Politburo Standing Committee members have visited the disaster zones, which has sparked public outrage. This year's flooding in North China has brought back memories of the devastating floods from 2 years ago. The 2023 floods in Hebei are still fresh in people's minds. In late July 2023, Beijing was hit by typhoon rains, with areas like Fangshan and Mentougo experiencing mountain floods and mudslides, resulting in major casualties and property damage. Due to flood releases from Beijing, places like Zhuozhou and Hebei were suddenly submerged, catching residents off guard. Entire cities were flooded, with water levels reaching up to 4 to 5 meters. Countless homes were destroyed, and many people went missing. Reuters reported that some people who stayed behind in Zhuozhou stated that local officials lacked urgency and failed to issue evacuation warnings in time. Many residents believed that the government released the floodwaters to protect Beijing and the CCP's signature project, Xiong'an New Area. Zhuozhou, Bazhou, and other areas became direct victims of this decision. At the time, CCP Minister of Water Resources Li Guoying and Hebei Provincial Party Secretary Ni Yuefeng had both stated the importance of ensuring the absolute safety of flood control for Xiong'an New Area. They were resolute in safeguarding the capital, which angered the public. Renowned water resources expert Wang Weiluo stated that the Hebei flooding was entirely man-made, with much of it being artificially controlled. He said, the biggest problem with the Haihe River Basin is that it's an artificial river system. If they want the water to go south, it goes south. If they want it to go east, it goes east. The entire design works like that. The CCP's water management is about making the water obey orders. If they want to flood someone, they will.